The sirens came first, long, metallic howls that cut through the silence of the night. Then came the announcement, flat and robotic through every intercom. Security breach detected. All units remain locked. Inside his cell, Marcus Lane jolted upright. His pulse pounded so loud he could barely hear the rest. The lights in his cell flickered between white and red, painting the gray walls in flashes. He'd been at ADX Florence for 2 years, and this was the first time he'd ever heard that alarm. There wasn't supposed to be a way out of this place. He pressed his face to the slit of reinforced glass on his door. Down the corridor, shadows moved fast. Guards sprinted past with rifles and shields. The overhead cameras tracked them smoothly, tiny lenses glowing red in the dim light. Marcus could hear a voice shouting through the speakers, "Lockdown Section Delta immediately. We have motion in an unauthorized zone." Someone was trying to escape. The thought didn't seem real. The Alcatraz of the Rockies wasn't like other prisons. Here, everything was built to keep people in. Even the smallest movements, breathing too close to a wall, standing too long near a vent, were picked up by sensors. The walls could hear you. The lights could see you. And yet, the alarms kept screaming. Suddenly they stopped. Every sound, sirens, footsteps, even the hum of the lights, went dead. For a few seconds, the prison was wrapped in a silence so complete it felt unnatural. Marcus didn't breathe. Then, through that silence, he heard something impossible, a voice. Not every eye sees everything. He spun around, scanning the corners of his cell. There was no one there. Only the tiny vent near the ceiling, rattling softly. Then, just as quickly, the lights returned to normal. The intercom buzzed again, calm and mechanical. Incident contained. Resume standard security protocol. But Marcus couldn't shake the voice. It hadn't come from the intercom. That night, when dinner arrived through the metal slot, a folded piece of paper dropped onto the floor with his tray. No one had ever sent him anything before. The guards didn't pass notes. The inmates never touched one another's meals. He unfolded it carefully. In shaky pencil, the message read, "Watch the cameras. They blink when no one's watching." He stared at it for a long time. 3 months earlier, Marcus had been transferred from Leavenworth to ADX Florence after being labeled a risk to institutional security. The truth was simpler. He had seen something he shouldn't have. Something involving a warden, a transfer list, and an inmate who vanished from the record. Florence was meant to bury him quietly. He learned fast that here, privacy didn't exist. The walls had motion sensors. The toilets had microphones. The lights never went completely dark. Even the shower stall had a black dome above it, another unblinking eye. Still, Marcus noticed things others didn't. The cameras had a rhythm. Every few hours, they would flicker, a blink so fast it could be missed if you weren't staring. He started marking those moments, counting seconds between blinks. It wasn't random. It was a pattern. One night, when the lights dimmed for rest hour, he stood beneath the vent and whispered, "Who are you?" For a moment, there was only air. Then a whisper came back. "Someone who knows this place better than they do." His chest tightened. "Are you one of the guards?" The pause. Then, "Used to be." He froze. The next morning, he noticed one of the hallway cameras pointing slightly off-center. That had never happened before. Every camera was always perfectly aligned. Later that day, when the guards escorted him to the wreck cage, a concrete box with a slice of sky, he looked up at the towers. 2 snipers stood watch as always. But today, one of them wasn't looking down. He was facing away from the yard, his scope turned toward the hills. Something was off. That night, when the vent hummed again, Marcus whispered, "Why are you helping me?" The voice came back softer this time. "Because I built the system that's watching you, and it's starting to fail." Marcus stepped closer, his pulse quickening. Fail how? Doors open when they shouldn't. Cameras go blind for seconds at a time. And someone inside knows it. Before Marcus could ask more, the vent hissed and the voice cut off. Then, through the cell speaker, came a line that made his blood run cold. "Inmate Lane, security review, tomorrow morning. Observation room 3. The timing wasn't random. They knew. He sat on his bunk, eyes locked on the tiny red light above his door, the one that meant the camera was watching. Only this time, it wasn't steady. It blinked twice, then went dark. For the first time in 2 years, Marcus Lane was invisible. And somewhere in the walls, the voice whispered again. This is where it begins. The next morning, Marcus barely slept. Every sound felt amplified. The clang of metal doors, the hum of the fluorescent lights, the faint shuffle of guards' boots against the polished floor. When the intercom crackled to life with his name, he already knew what was coming. Inmate Lane. Report for security observation. The cell door buzzed, then slid open with a slow mechanical hiss. 2 guards in full-body armor waited outside, faces blank behind tinted visors. They cuffed him without a word and led him down a corridor Marcus had never seen before. It was colder here, quieter. Even the air smelled different, like burnt metal and bleach. As they walked, the walls shifted from concrete to glass panels. Behind each one, Marcus could see rows of computer monitors flickering with images, inmates in their cells, guards at their posts, even the cafeteria trays moving through conveyor belts. Every inch of ADX Florence was under watch. One of the guards leaned toward him. "You like watching, Lane?" he said softly. "You're gonna love this part." The door at the end of the hallway slid open. Inside was Observation Room 3. A wide circular space lined with black screens, each displaying a live feed from a different section of the prison. In the middle sat a metal chair bolted to the floor. "Sit," the taller guard ordered. Marcus sat. His cuffed hands gripped the cold armrests as the door locked behind him. Then a voice came from a speaker above. "Mr. Lane, you've been flagged for suspicious activity. Care to explain why your cell camera went offline last night?" Marcus said nothing. A moment of silence followed, then the voice continued. "Funny thing, Mr. Lane. That shouldn't be possible. These systems don't fail." He looked up at the largest monitor. His own face stared back at him from a dozen angles. Past footage of him sleeping, eating, standing, even whispering toward the vent. The camera had caught everything. But then one of the feeds glitched. A burst of static rolled across the screen. The image froze, then flickered again, replaced by something impossible. A grainy view of an old control room, empty except for a single chair. The voice on the speaker faltered. "What is that feed?" The guards turned toward the monitors, confused. Then the door behind Marcus suddenly locked itself. The lights flickered. From the ceiling vent came the same whispering voice he'd heard before. "You see it now, don't you? They've lost control." The taller guard shouted, "Control room, respond. We've got an override." No response. Every monitor in the room began to switch rapidly. Cell feeds, hallways, camera views blinking like a heartbeat. And then, one by one, the cameras went black. Marcus's heart raced. The lights dimmed to red. In that darkness, the voice came again, clearer now. "This is where they built it, the first system. Before they buried it." Marcus stood, straining against his cuffs. "Who are you?" The vent rattled once, and for a split second, he saw it, a pale eye staring back at him through the grate. "I'm what's left," the voice said. "And you're the only one who can still move unseen." The screens suddenly flashed white. One of the guards screamed, clutching his headset. Sparks burst from the control panel. The smell of burnt wires filled the room. When the emergency lights flicked back on, Marcus realized his cuffs had unlocked. He stared at them in disbelief. Then, slowly, he looked up at the main monitor. It now showed a single line of text. "Exit code, Lane_01. Door release in 60 seconds. The door buzzed. A green light blinked above it. The guards were still on the ground, dazed. Smoke filled the room. Marcus hesitated for only a moment before stepping toward the door. He didn't know if this was freedom or another layer of the trap, but it was the first door he'd ever seen open on its own. He slipped through. The hallway was empty. Red lights pulsed along the floor, leading him deeper into the building. Alarms wailed faintly in the distance, but no one came. Cameras lined the walls, yet all their lenses were dark, off. The voice returned, guiding him. Down the west wing. Past the loading dock. There's one unregistered exit. How do I know this isn't a trick? Marcus whispered. You don't, it said. But if you stay, they'll make sure you never speak again. He followed the lights, his heart hammering. The air grew colder as he neared a steel door marked Maintenance. The keypad beside it glowed red. Then, as he raised his hand, it turned green. The lock clicked open. Inside was a small tunnel lit by a single flickering bulb. The walls were rough concrete, the ground wet. At the far end, a faint breeze stirred the dust. He started walking. The tunnel led to another door, smaller and older than the rest. On it, someone had scratched 3 words into the metal. No way out. Marcus froze. Then, from the vent above him, the whisper came again. But this time, it wasn't just one voice. It was many. Layers of murmurs, like dozens of people speaking at once. You've already left, they said together. The light above him burst, plunging everything into darkness. When the emergency crews reached observation room 3 an hour later, the guards were still unconscious, but Marcus Lane was gone. His cell camera blinked on again at exactly 3 a.m., showing an empty bed and a red light pulsing steadily above it. And somewhere deep within the walls of ADX Florence, a single camera lens turned on by itself, its focus shifting toward the empty cell, and whispered, "Watching."